Hello, my friends. Welcome once again to the Thomas McCook Show. Well, the Pope is dead. And what's going to happen now? Well, a few things. Like, he's up in the news right now, the death of Pope Francis the First. Actually, a very divided Pope in his government during his papacy time. But what is going to happen right now? Well, first of all, speculation. A lot of speculation around who's going to be the next pope and the candidates, and everybody is talking about right now who's going to be the next leader of the Catholic Church. It is a very interesting matter of fact. So yeah, and after speculations, what is gonna come? Well, the movie Conclave is gonna have a lot more ratings than before. So it is important that we talk about a few things in here. I personally will not go into the divided criteria among the Catholic believers, and which is a big number, is 1.3 billion people around the world. And there are many divided criterias about Pope Francis' government during 12 years since he first came to be Pope in 2013. As a reminder, I was looking back into history and I was remembering that maybe Pope Francis, a Jesuit coming from Argentina, he would be making the difference inside of the Catholic Church, and maybe those differences would impact in the future, and I can tell you the eschatological future of the way that people saw the Catholic Church, and he actually did that. So he actually changed the perspective the world had about the Catholic Church in a lot of ways. Many people would say Pope Francis was the best. Many people would say that Pope Francis was really far away from the traditional ways the Catholic Church used to go for centuries. And to be honest, I was one of those persons that believed that Pope Francis might be one of the last, if not the last one. The way that he projected, the way that he just went to prisons, he participated in very very humble rites with a lot of people from different type of societies. The way that he just found himself in a criteria about homosexuality and all the things around that. So Pope Francis was the different apple inside of the bushel. So he was the type of person that would bring charisma. I remember when he made when he made his presentation in 2013 and he was introduced to the crowd. I remember three things. The first one is that when the cardinal announced that we had a new pope, the crowd expectation was not the one they actually expected. So it was a big crowded Vatican City that day, but when they said, hey, it's Jorge Mario Bergoglio, he's from Argentina. So Argentinian people in the crowd, they reacted on a good way, but the other people going more into the traditional ways, like is a very consecutive tradition for Catholic Church to elect European popes, especially Italian popes. The second thought that comes to my mind, talking about Pope Francis' presentation in 2013, is actually when he was introduced. He came out and faced the crowd, but he was so quiet. He didn't actually manifest himself in a very charismatic way. So he just came out and he was a very, very serious person. He was Practically, you can see that he didn't move a finger. So he didn't move at all. And the third is that when he started speaking, you can see the presentation of before popes, and they would have a very low speech. They would have a very, very low speech. They wouldn't exaggerate on the manners to introduce themselves to the crowd. But then Pope Francis began to make gestures. He would start expressing himself with a lot of gestures, something that you probably would never see from a pope. And these started making the difference inside the Vatican and to the world's eyes. This was really, really impressive. From there on, Franciscus, by his name in Latin, he started making big and major changes in the Catholic Church. He started with a premise by saying that he came to the world, God gave him a mission to build bridges. Never heard that before. Never heard that before. Every time that we talk about the Catholic Church, we're talking about the supreme religious power. With the power, if we go to the book of Revelation in the Bible, you can find that there is a big power arising, and that power would be fluent of words and would express, would call a lot of multitude to come along, and would have the power to change the law and the times. So that is reflected in the book of Revelation. And it's really important that we associate this because it's a very similar, there is a very eschatological symbolism between what the book of Revelation says and actually what the power of the Roman Catholic Church has for centuries. So nobody expected these sort of things. What really called my attention is that Pope Benedict the 16th, he just moved away to open the door to Pope Francis. And it's because the church needed these sort of things. For sure, we would never know what happens inside of the conclave, inside of, I could say, the board of the Catholic Church, and what they would determine inside there in order to elect a new person. But for sure, the person they elect, the new pope, is going to be responding to the calls, is going to be responding to the needs of the Catholic Church in the world so far at the moment. So, what just happened? Well, as I said in the beginning, the Pope is dead. Long live Jesus Christ. He's the only one, and I assume somebody just made a report, somebody made a documentary, and they went through this important thing. Hey, everybody dies, even the Pope. And what this teaches us is that no matter what power, no matter what condition, no matter where you are, death is gonna touch your door. And the thing is, where are we gonna be before that, and where are we willing to be right after that? So one thing to bring up is that every single leader in the world, they would have positive and negative ways to rule. I don't judge. I am not a Catholic believer, but I consider that we may pay attention to the next news coming along about the new election. We may not speculate until they make this election. But for sure, one thing is important, and is that the only legacy that will prevail, the only person that will remain until the end, the only alive, is Jesus Christ. So there is no way any power arises on earth and pretend to stand still forever. Only Jesus will do that. And I can tell. My condolences to his family. In my personal opinion, being a Cuban, whenever my people, whenever my fellow Cubans here in the exile, here outside of the country, outside of our island, which is being destroyed apart. So we claimed Pope Francis to do the right thing about it. And he actually embraced the dictatorship, and he actually hugged the family that actually rules my country right now. What can I say about this? Well, we were not, in the exile, we were not really happy. At the time, many people moved to the Vatican City in order to talk to the Pope and ask him to take actions about the Cuban people and about the government, because that is a suffering country. That is a country with a lot of necessity of a spiritual leadership, but most of all, people that are willing to live as people, like in a normal life. And when we asked, as a Cuban people, when we asked the Pope Francis for help, he just turned his back. Sometimes it's not only the prayers, because the Bible actually says that the faith without acts, without facts, is actually dead. So there is no way that, we asked him in the past to do something for our country, and he never did. So he never did. No regrets, no problem at all. But, sometimes we need to take actions. I remember when Obama was president, he built a bridge for Obama to go to Cuba. Was the first president of the United States of America going to Cuba in like 90 years. And that was possible because of the Pope. But then, everything broke apart, and the oppression over my people in Cuba was really, really powerful, was really intense, was the most powerful in years. And we asked him for help, and he never showed up. He never showed up. Is something that we keep in ourselves, but we never stopped fighting for the freedom, fighting for the prosperity, fighting for the blessing from God to my people in Cuba. So, my friends, once more I can tell the Pope is dead. That's right. And the other one is going to come, and one day is going to die too. But guess what? The only that will remain alive, the only one that will remain there, waiting for us, is Jesus Christ. I am Aníbal Alfonso, my friends, and thank you once more. Please subscribe and share all the videos, and click on the bell so anytime that I upload any video, you can be connected with me. Until the next time, I am Aníbal Alfonso once more, and I will wait to hear in the Thomas. Michael Chow.